Hello, how's everybody doing this evening? I hope
Good.
everybody's fine.
Good.
My name is Ebay. Right now, Hurricane Irma is battering the coast of Florida, has caused mass devastation in the Key West and the Leeward Islands, over some of the islands such as Barbuda, Antigua, and Jose has been right on her tail. This is the first time in recorded history we've ever had two Cat 4 hurricanes over 150 miles per hour in the Atlantic Ocean. So it's with that information that I feel inclined to educate you on how a hurricane forms. First of all, a hurricane is one of the most devastating storms in recorded history. It causes mass devastation wherever it hits. Flooding, winds, mass evacuations, people stranded. There's all kinds of things that can happen from a hurricane. When a hurricane forms, what happens is the winds from Africa rush over the water. Rushing over this warm water at temperatures of at least 80 degrees for at least 50 meters causes the water to rise. As the water rises, it causes moisture to form. That moisture forming and the water rising with the heat and evaporation causes cumulonimbus clouds to form. Those cumulonimbus clouds all gather together and make large, large storms. As it continues to grow, the cold air gets surrounded inside of it and starts spinning. As it starts to spin, the storm continues to grow and grow and grow. A hurricane is fueled by warm, moist air. It's like an engine from a car, except it doesn't use fuel. Its fuel is the warm, moist air from the water. As the storm grows, once the storm reaches 39 miles per hour, it is considered a tropical storm. Once the storm's winds reach 74 miles per hour, it is considered a hurricane. As the storm gathers, the eye of the storm starts to form. The eye is very calm and peaceful. However, some of the strongest winds are inside of the inner walls of the eye. That is where you see most of your damage and where some of the highest winds are recorded from the storm. As the storm passes over land, it does die out because it loses its fuel. However, as it goes farther and farther inland, it dumps tons and tons of rain onto the earth, which causes flooding and storm surge. A Category 1 hurricane is any hurricane with winds up to 74 to 95 miles per hour. It produces minimal damage. A Category 2 hurricane is 96 to 110 miles per hour, and it produces moderate damage. A Category 3 hurricane is 111 to 129 miles per hour, and it produces extensive damage. A Category 4 hurricane is 130 to 156 miles per hour and causes extreme damage. The most catastrophic damage is caused by a Category 5. A Category 5 is winds in excess of 157 miles per hour. The highest storm ever recorded on record in the Atlantic is 185 miles per hour. Irma almost reached that, but she reached winds of up to 180 miles per hour. Hurricanes that form in the Atlantic are called hurricanes. Anywhere else in the world, they can be called by any other name. They can be referred to as a typhoon, a cyclone, or a hurricane. Hurricanes that form above the equator, they spin clockwise. Hurricanes that form below the equator I do apologize about that. Hurricanes that form above the equator, they spin counterclockwise. And hurricanes that form below the equator spin clockwise. As Irma passes through, she has already caused rain and everything else to dump into Miami. We've seen her devastation on the islands. We've seen water recede in the Bahamas and the destruction that a hurricane can form. We've also seen Harvey as he passed through Texas. Although he wasn't a high category whenever he went over them, he dumped trillions of gallons of water onto the land, causing mass flooding all over. This caused numerous deaths. Numerous deaths have also been caused in the islands that were in the Atlantic. Hurricane Irma has also caused thousands of people to evacuate from their homes. It was mass evacuations that were actually mandatory for the residents of that area. They had to get out because the winds and the devastation were going to be so catastrophic that if they were caught there, they would not have been able to get out in time. So it is with this information that I hope that you have learned how a hurricane forms and the causes that it can cause as it passes through and as it goes through land, and as it causes people to be removed from their homes. Thank you all for coming, and I'm glad that you listened to my speech.